Welcome back. A final campaign rally has been held in Athens by supporters of the ruling Syriza party ahead of Sunday's snap poll. The election was called by the former Greek Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras after he secured a multi-billion-euro bailout from international lenders. Thousands turned out for the rally, but support for Syriza has dwindled compared to earlier this year. Austerity measures that they've been forced to accept by creditors have knocked the popularity of the party. Well, Syriza intends to carry on with the bailout programme if it wins the upcoming election, and with austerity as well. Its main rival, the new centre-right New Democracy Party, has the same two policies. Well, many of the hardest-hit voters will see no difference between the two groups, and they're seeking a more radical alternative. Let's take a look at some of those. Here they are, the leftist Popular Unity Party. That was formed by 25 former Syriza members who were disillusioned by Alexis Tsipras' moves. They reject all austerity plans and think that leaving the EU would be the best option for Greece. At the other extreme is the far-right Golden Dawn group. It too wants an end to austerity, but also promises to crack down on illegal immigration. Let's bring in former British diplomat William Mallinson to give us a bit of insight into all this. Warm welcome to the programme. Thanks very much for joining us. First, both the main rivals, as I mentioned there, the leftist Syriza, the centre-right New Democracy, they've got the same stance on austerity. So as far as the voters are concerned tomorrow, what's the difference?
As far as the voters are concerned, I suspect there's very little difference whatsoever, because both parties have shown themselves incapable of adopting a stance independent to that of Brussels, to put it bluntly. And I think that most of the voting population knows this and is extremely disillusioned, which is why I think the slightly more extreme parties like Golden Dawn on the one hand and the new one, Popular Unity, are going to get more votes, as are some smaller parties, such as that of Vasilis Levendis, the Centre Union, E.ΠΑ.Μ, which wants to get into Parliament for the first time, because those smaller parties do actually want to cut the Gordian knot and leave the euro. So that's the background. There is complete disillusionment. I think that less people than usual are going to vote as well. I don't really see a single party being able to form a government, which is why there may well even be further elections in 2 or 3 months, and that might even cause some kind of eventual U-turn when everybody realizes, as most people do actually deep down, including Brussels and the IMF, that the debt is simply unsustainable, and that another year of this could be the final nail in the coffin for the Greeks, because it's become a question of human rights. There's not much left to negotiate. And I noticed at the beginning of the program, you said that 86 billion has been secured. No, it has not been secured. It's still being negotiated. And it's highly unlikely that the system here, which is still very clientelistic, and this has not been reformed, despite what Mr. Tsipras promised, will cause further delays in any case. So I see a continuation of the mess for a few more months, whatever the result of this election. But then, yes, there could be some kind of Gordian knot being cut.
So whatever happens tomorrow, though, isn't it all... It's going to be largely academic, whether people go for these two very similar parties or veer to the left, veer to the right. The point of the matter is, the Greeks made their choice earlier this year. They made it again in a referendum in the summer. No matter what happens, Brussels still puts the pressure on. Yes,
they made their choice, and then they were betrayed. If one thinks about it, more than 60% voted no, and then Tsipras gave in to threats. Now, it is a known fact that those who threaten are frightened, which meant Brussels was frightened. First, they turned the screws on the banks. I mean, people like me, I still can't draw out more than 60 euros a day. And so it's a form of poker, not 7-card stud poker. It's like high-low poker. It's threat and counter-threat. There is not much room left for negotiation, frankly. Much of the debt has been declared odious, not only within Greece but outside Greece, by all kinds of rational people, like Strauss-Kahn, even. Whatever his private habits, he has a rational intellect. It's a question of usury and controlling the sort of things that have gone out of have gone too far. It's too neoliberal, and people are reacting to that slowly. The Greeks' eyes are opening slowly, and I think that will be reflected in higher votes for smaller parties. I think that is what the political analyst has to watch out for, because that is a sign for the next elections.
Indeed, it's going to be interesting to see which of the challenger parties are the ones that split the vote or the bigger ones. So maybe 24, 48 hours from now, when we start getting the results in, we can come back to you and see what happens. But for now, though, William Mallinson, thanks very much for joining us, former diplomat, historian and author of Behind the Words. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, thank you very much.